Alright, I'm back. It's like the detective trying to expose the truth, and the illusion trying to confuse it with a mixture of truth and lies, are getting blended together, leading to a bizarre form of argument similar to a devil's proof. Making a closed room murder mysteries. Making a closed room murder seem to be accomplished by a witch with magic as fantasy. Supposing that was a human's crime done with tricks is anti fantasy. Examining all possibilities to expose the nature of those tricks is mystery. But is it also a mystery to claim that possibilities with no hint supporting them are unworthy of investigation? Basically, we're saying Knox's law is bullshit. Let's say a hidden door is hidden in a way that there will be no clues. Would claiming that a hidden door therefore exists, even though a detective couldn't find it, be anti-mystery? That's enough of that. This argument's too far of a digression from the riddles I'm actually supposed to be solving. I find it's very simple. I'm only fighting to explain how it was possible for a human to carry out these crimes that were supposedly carried out by a witch. This whole discussion about mystery and anti doesn't serve any purpose. That's why I didn't have any particular interest regarding these rules known as the Knox Decalogue. Do you dislike Knox? It doesn't work for me. There's something strange about making it possible to deny the existence of all hidden doors without investigating. It's found as dubious as a devil's proof. Even though it's supposed to be the exact opposite of fantasy, it somehow feels like it's the exact same kind of argument. I shouldn't have said that. Your dad was the one who made them, after all. Do not worry. After all, there are some who say it is nothing more than a silly game. The Decalogue feels like something very arrogant to you, right, Butlerkin? To be honest, yeah. If an actual detective said he didn't need to look for hidden doors because they must not exist, everyone would start looking around on the floor to see if some of his screws had come loose. In that case, Battler, let us say that the third commandment didn't exist. In that case, what would happen to closed room mysteries? What if Knox's third, hidden doors are forbidden, didn't exist? In other words, hidden doors would always work just fine as the standard trick for closed rooms. This does not refer to hidden doors with hints or foreshadowing. It refers only to doors that even the detective cannot find because, of course, they are hidden. Batherkun, you often fight by using a devil's proof, assuming the existence of an undiscoverable element X. That's what this is about. That'd be horrible. The closed room murder mystery genre wouldn't be worth reading at all. And if it's no longer worth anyone's time, it would cease to exist. And we want to try solving the riddle from the beginning, not if they knew the answer might just be an unforeseeable hidden door. Unless you have some guarantee that no hidden doors exist, you don't really feel like trying to reason it out. I see. So Knox's third is necessary. Without it, it wouldn't be worth reading closed room mysteries. And if you didn't feel like trying to reason it out, what would that lead to? It means you wouldn't even want to read it. That's it. Humans are weak creatures who can't even think unless they have proof that reasoning is possible. That reasoning is possible. In other words, they need encouragement to let them know they can solve it if they work hard enough. That might be true. The same with exercising. If you're told to run around the campus 10 times, you can tough it out. However, if you don't know how many times you're supposed to run around it, you'd probably get tired before you even made it around 3 times. Same thing goes for thinking and reasoning. Humans view a problem differently depending on whether or not it's guaranteed to be solvable. In detective novels, there's always a scene where the detective announces he's discovered who the culprit is. That's a sign saying the hints have all been given in the previous parts of the story. So, dear readers, please try to reason it out. I always thought it was just a classic line, but I guess it does also have that effect. I love this. They're just talking about like tropes and genre. It's really fun. I like this kind. This is like my kind of fiction. And to put it harshly, until the detective says that, readers won't feel like trying to solve it, no matter how much they love solving mysteries. You know what? That's true. It's like fucking. It's kind of like that Danganronpa, where I'm just like, okay, yeah, I've been given some clues here, and I've been given some hints here, but I'm not gonna like actually try to work it out until Kyoko basically says, oh yeah, I know who the killer is, because like, yeah, otherwise you don't have all the information. You know you don't have all the information. So like another piece of information could come in that can completely dispel all of your theories. Why do you like that yourself in the previous games? Now that I hear it, maybe that really was the case. Maybe my fight against Beto really began in the second game. At first, I didn't seriously try to tackle the closed room riddles Beto threw at me. After all, I knew nothing except that people had died in the closed rooms, and the windows and doors were all locked from the inside. I mean, seriously, talk about having no hints to go on. So I refused to argue on the grounds that I couldn't fight, because the lack of clues made reasoning impossible. After that, didn't Beto sneer at me, asking whether I'd repeat that over and over with an endless repetition of moves? At that time, Beto said this. Of course not. I'll give you the thing people like you always demand. The reason you always stop thinking and then bemoan about it is lack of information. If you are then given information, you start doubting whether the information is true or not by denying the basis. Isn't that convenient? What clever little words to hide your own incompetence. Then she said she'd give me certain information that couldn't be denied, the red truth. Yep. Once we reached that point, the curtain finally rose on my battle with Beto. So that's when I finally had a guarantee that I could solve this tale if I tried, and I stepped up to the stage with her for the first time. Beatrice, she's a strange person. Though riddles are the only holes witches can live within, she began to give you the red truth, a method by which those riddles could be solved. You could say the red truth a hint because yes, I can compete in this war of reasoning. It candy, because I've been given hints. It's like she's saying, try and solve it, for it can be solved. An enigma that's guaranteed to be solvable can't be called a true enigma. It's almost as though Vita herself is admitting that she isn't really a witch. My, that does seem logical. She truly is a strange child. My father created the Decalogue to act as a crutch for the power of thinking. It most certainly wasn't made as a way to arrogantly decide things. A crutch for the power of thinking. That's right. By Nox's 8th, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. This does not only mean that one is forced to avoid making theories that are not supported by clues. If you turn it around, it means that the one proposing the riddle is forced to display clues that lead to the solution. That makes sense. So in other words, if you follow the Decalogue, all riddles must have hints, and therefore it's guaranteed that finding the solution is possible. I see, so this is what they mean by as a crutch for the power of thinking. If you could believe it's solvable, you start wanting to have a go at those riddles. If you're capable of believing the hints do exist, you get fired up about rereading the story to search for them. I'll admit that it might have the power to give courage to those trying to solve it. You seem to think the Nox Decalogue is a series of restrictions imposed by one who made the mystery, but it is also vital for the readers. By using the Decalogue as a crutch, we are given the courage needed to use reasoning, as well as the willpower to reread the tale several times in search of the clues we know must be hidden there. It's like the lid of a jar of jam that's too tight and won't open. Like Mom always used to say, if you think you can't open it, then it really won't open, no matter how hard you try. Same thing happens in sports. They say whether or not you have a strong image of yourself and believe you can win no matter what has a large impact on the records. In that case, the Nox Decalogue isn't really a set of arrogant and strict restrictions. You can also see it as a way to encourage readers, yep. It's an interesting way to interpret it. Still, I've heard that not all detective novels around the world follow this Decalogue all the time, right? When you bump into one of those, would you feel tricked? Even the Decalogue is nothing more than a single interpretation, and it cannot be applied to all mystery stories. Though among fundamentalists of my father's work, it seems there are those who harshly criticize work that violate the Decalogue and call them heresy. I don't understand why they want to criticize it. They try to solve it, believe it's solvable, and follow the Decalogue, but it's actually not made to be solvable like that at all. I don't understand how that get pretty annoying. You want to guarantee the if a work labels itself as an orthodox mystery, then you have nothing to worry about. But the mystery genre contains many unorthodox subgenres within it, like the fantasy shit. Looking at it this way, it really does feel arrogant. Yes, I also find it extremely sad that my father's Decalogue has been used as such an arrogant weapon. And again, you just fought against Beto using the Decalogue as a weapon. Can I take it as proof that this game world of Beto follows the next Decalogue? Nox Decalogue? That is something I cannot answer myself. Why? This is a game this child made. A game to decide which of the two of you will win. This child has called it a confrontation between mystery and fantasy. But unfortunately, she never said it was an orthodox mystery. That means you have no guarantee that it follows the Decalogue. But at the same time, Miss Beatrice said that this game is a contest between you and her. In other words, there is a chance that you could win. In other words, you're trying to say that reasoning is possible. If you ask this child, she'd probably say that reasoning is possible. However, just as she is the challenger and you are the challenged, the two of you are different creatures. Something Beto might have proposed, thinking it is solvable, may or may not be solvable for you as well. Yep. It's possible to have on the one side solve a problem which might be easy for the questioner, but extremely difficult for the person trying to solve it. Do you know the foreign riddle, why do dragons sleep all day? The answer is, to battle the night. Ha ha, I get it. It's a riddle from the English realm, so it might be a little tough for a Japanese person, but as an English person, I know that. Am I gonna? I'm doing it. I'm doing the stupid shit. All right. If we do machine translating, direct, literal translation of the Japanese translation, what is it? Oh, Umineko ga kakikoku nado naso de, Oragon wa naze hiruma wa nete bakari iru no ka? Te no ishiru ka? ちなみに世界は騎士と戦うためだから。Okay, yeah. How reliable is Google Translate? Not necessarily reliable, but I mean, if it's just reading out the text as in Romanji, I can at least trust that. Anyway, it does not talk about things about knights. Wait, let me go back. What did it actually like? If hang on, let me go back. Let me go back to that. Yeah, being like a yeah, this is in English. Riddle in English is maybe difficult for Japanese people. Yep. Anyway, yep. Anyway, for that reason, I cannot say for certain that this tale is something you'll be able to solve. However, I can promise you one thing: I will guarantee it with the red truth. What? Vito wanted you to solve it, so she made this game. The riddles of this tale solvable. That alone I will guarantee with the red truth. It was the one guarantee all those who try to use reasoning desire. I don't know if my father's decalogue will apply to that answer or lead you to it. However, when you run into a tight spot and want a compass for your reasoning, please try using my decalogue if you remember. It might give you renewed courage, and might possibly even lead to some new discovery. Thank you. If I'm truly stuck, I'll think about your fighting style. Be sure it's okay to help out an enemy like this? Pay that no mind. I came to this tea party without a gift. I hope you enjoy this in place of a snack. And if you come face to face with me again, there probably won't be time to speak of such things so casually. Nox's Decalogue and Virgilia's Red Truth. Beto wanted me to solve it, so she made the riddles of this game solvable. In other words, Beto wants me to be capable of solving it. Isn't that proof that reasoning is possible? Of course, that's from Beto's point of view, and it doesn't necessarily mean that reasoning is possible for me. Compared to before now, when I didn't even know whether reasoning was possible or not, that one line might have given me a great deal of courage. At least it has the power to silence any negative thoughts about this all being useless. It's all useless. And if the other party assures you the reasoning is possible, you won't do it. It's almost like love between shy young people. Love? Yes. Unless you have proof that the other person loves you first, you don't want to love them back. Right? Yeah. This sounds like the Kaguya-sama. Nothing is painful as a one-sided love. Yep. I see. That's an interesting way to explain the relationship between writer and reader in a detective novel. Until the writer's unsure that the reader will certainly have a go at the riddle, they approach it. They don't want to write the story. Sure. Yep. By that argument, it really isn't a stretch to say it's like love between shy elementary or middle school kids. Yep. Even yeah. Yep. This is just the plot to Kaguya-sama. Even though they really do want it, they don't have the courage to reveal their feelings, so they wait uncomfortably for the other person to confess, and by the time summer ends, nothing's happened. More than that, sometimes the girl even ends up going out with an entirely different guy. That's my first love was like. Atlacan, when does the chicken or egg type of shy love reach the level where it can progress into mutual love? Well, it's probably when things start to pile up. It starts as a relationship between friends that communicate with each other more and more, and when the two both reach the level where they're sure, like, I like this person, they surely like me. Well, then they probably just naturally become a pair of lovers. My impression up until now is the relationship starting with a sudden confession of love tends to break up more often, whereas pairs who never actually confess to each other but realize they're always been together usually stay together a surprisingly long time. You know, in other words, this happens once the two of them believe in each other and a relationship of trust is born, is what you're saying. Like, I'd say this is almost like what happened at the end of episode 3, where he's like, he actually sort of trusted Beatrice, but then Beatrice, I guess, didn't really trust Battler because she was tricking him the whole time. Whereas now they have more of a mutual respect. Can they use the um what was I gonna say? Um Sorry, your comment. I was trying to read your comment and it confused me, but then I understood, and actually, there's nothing really I can say about that. Yeah, yeah. So basically, like if the two of them have their mutual understanding and stuff now that they do, like, can they use that power of love and friendship to just like punch the witches in their dumb, stupid faces? I don't know, but I want that to happen. I've always thought the mystery genre was a battle between the writer and the reader, but maybe that's not quite right. So you're saying our relationship isn't one of killing each other, but one with love? No, it doesn't look like anything more than a pair of elementary schoolers bullying each other to me. I can accept her as a, although I'm not expecting friendship or a trusting relationship. I can accept her as a rival. Vito is fighting at full force, trying to make me acknowledge that she's a witch. So I'll respond to that and go all out, trying to deny that witches exist. How can you be so sure that Miss Vito is fighting at full force? Can't you tell that by looking? It isn't as though she has proclaimed in red that she's fighting you at full force. And yet you still have no doubts? You are the one who said you wouldn't believe anything except the red truth. Surely this is that stage Battler could mentioned earlier, where communication increases and you learn not to doubt your relationship. One guy, multiple women, and the topic is love. Wait a sec, isn't this the worst possible formation for making fun of? Yeah, that's right. Virgilia and Delano have given me so many hints, and yet I barely thought about it at all. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say this is a criticism I have of this story, but it's kind of like, yeah, Butler seems to kind of give up way too quickly. Or sometimes he doesn't give up way too quickly. Like, this just, like, he just kind of got blindsided and suddenly he stops thinking, even though everybody kept telling him, you must not stop thinking. And he kept saying his resolve that he would not stop thinking. So, I don't know. Right now, it's all too late. Let me think. Now that everything's too late already and I've got an endless amount of time in my hands, let me think. One more time. Let me think about the red truth Virgilia gave me. and the crutch of the Decalogue that Flanor lent me. With the red truth, Cordelia guaranteed at the very least Peter left enough room in this tale for me to achieve victory. The red truth guarantee will once again give me the power to stop my heart beating. And there's the crutch of the Decalogue, which Flanor led me. Flanor herself warned me in the beginning that the Decalogue isn't so almighty that it can solve all riddles. However, she said something about how it could be used as a method to take on riddles. Let me try it. But there's no guarantee this tale is mystery or fantasy. Let me believe that I'll definitely be able to solve it. That it is a solvable tale, a mystery. And let me take it on one last time. When I came to, I was suddenly in that strange tea room, and I often argued curiously with Peter across that table. Hello, 10% of Gabby. Hello. Yeah. Actually, honestly, this one hasn't been too bad. My mind hasn't been blown too many times. Of course, Peter was nowhere to be found. But, he got... Yeah, what happened? Basically, the witches cheated, and they don't give a shit. And, Battler got stabbed in the chest, and, Beatrice is dissolved. But Battler's gonna try and get back up again, I guess. Erica's ruling the world now. Basically, the witches cheaters. You could have stopped there. Okay, that's true. But yeah, seems like Erica is ruling this universe now. So hopefully next episode, Battler comes back and punches Erica in her stupid face. It was just me, isolated and alone. That's okay. Even so, I won't stop thinking. Okay then. What were Nox's commandments again? I'm sure Lanor explained most of them when slamming me with them. Of course, even I recall them vaguely. What was the first one again? Oh, hi. Allow me to speak. Noxus first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story. Yeah, that's it. The first. The culprit has to be one of the people mentioned in the early part of the story. In other words, the culprit must have already appeared, as early as the first game? True, that's the most basic of basics in the mystery genre. Classic assumption. A classic assumption. Have I really been keeping to that assumption? With each new game, the number of people in this tale keeps increasing. That violates the closed circle rule. By that point, everything gets screwed up. Did I give up on the inside, thinking that the true culprit or mastermind must not have shown up yet, and that reasoning was therefore useless? If I read this tale as a fantasy, new characters keep showing up, to the point where even having demon kings or gods or creators appear wouldn't be strange at all. Even if the true mastermind appears in one of the last episodes, I'd have to accept it. Sorry, it's just very meta, but like, yeah, like, you know, it might just be a character we haven't met, and they'll show up in episode 8 and be like, I was the mastermind this whole time. However, if I read it as a mystery and stick with that conviction, then there's no need to worry about at all about anyone who shows up later. Because Noxus first clearly states it's impossible for culprits to be anyone who appears later on in the story. Of course, there's also what both Xanar and Virgilia said. There's no guarantee this tale follows the rules of the Decalogue, so of course I can't deny the possibility the culprit first appeared in the second game or later. Could be fucking, Renove is the mastermind, who knows? There's one way of thinking. This time, I'll forget about the Devil's Proof completely, and try to borrow the power of the Decalogue in my thinking. After all, I've already said myself that I won't be able to reach the truth without a multi-angled outlook. Alright then. In that case, that means the culprit in all these repeating games is one of the 18. From the very beginning, there was no need for an illusion of a 19th person. Even the first of Nox's commandment denies the existence of an unknown person, known as the Witch, from the very start. If I'd followed that in the truest sense, I might not have suffered so miserably in the second game. And Nox's second? Nox's second, it is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be deployed as a detective technique. That's right, a detective can't go around using magic. So, if this is a fair battle, does that mean that, like the detective, the culprit also isn't allowed to use magic? Allow me to speak. Know that you are free to interpret it as you please. Yeah, that's right. Sure. We'll interpret it my way. This game is a battle between me and Vito, and because this tale is solved, no elements will appear that make it impossible to solve. In other words, things like magic mustn't appear. When they do appear, I shouldn't suspect that the mystery element is breaking down. And I should instead question why it was shown and suspect the witnesses and observers. That's right, that was Vito's greatest weapon in the second game. Depictions of magic which couldn't exist in a mystery. By showing me that, she forced me to think that this tale wasn't a mystery, and therefore the reasoning was impossible, so I surrendered. However, if I had believed unshakably that it was a mystery, it would have been completely obvious to doubt the witnesses who claimed to have seen magic. Also, at the end of the first game, it was revealed that this tale was passed on to people in the future by that message bottle. Hey, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Someone had written about this crime, this tale. In other words, this entire tale is the world that includes the personal opinions of an observer. Namely, the person who wrote that message in a bottle. In other words, the observer isn't God. It's a human. Therefore, there's no guarantee that this description is truly impartial. By the end of the first game, it was already clear that we've broken the constant premise of the mystery genre, that the story itself must not be seen through the eyes of the story itself must be seen through the eyes of God. For that reason, it's possible to doubt even the observer as well as the witnesses. But if I could have doubted this much, then no matter how many seemingly unsolvable displays of magic appeared, I would have had to blindly accept them and give up. However, that begs the question, is it even possible to solve a tale written by an observer who isn't impartial? If I get obsessed with this, all my reasoning will end here. However, I had to believe that Vito is trying to fight me through this tale. Because it's a fight, that means I've been given a chance of winning. By giving me that, doesn't that mean that reasoning is possible? This part is tough. Unless I believe that the cruel witch took on the risk of losing to try and have a fair fight with me, I can't get past this part. It's just like love. Sure, I'll acknowledge it. Unless we acknowledge that we love each other, we won't be able to get any further. When Virgilia ran out of patience with the two of us, shy and incapable as we were of acknowledging that out loud, she gave me that red truth instead. What the hell? It's like saying, Sato-san in Class A says he likes you! Like hearing a love confession via a friend. I really am pitiful. Reasoning is love. If we don't love each other, the reasoning won't start. In that case, how can we say we love each other? If you think you can solve it, just you try. If you're incompetent, like hell you can solve it. Yeah, according to George Anarchy, people like that are called Sindara. Sindara, not Sindere. That brutal witch is finally starting to look a bit cute. If I meet her again, I want to try saying, you're such a Sindara. If I meet her again, somewhere. Tell me the other parts of the Decalogue. I don't care about the order. Give me something that seems useful. Noxus 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Noxus 6th. It is forbidden for accidents or intuition to be deployed as a detective technique. It must not be solved with clues that aren't presented. And it must not be solved by relying on accident or coincidence. If this tale is made to be solvable, we can read the opposite way. In other words, clues must be prepared that the case must be solved, and it has to be made in a way that can be solved without relying on coincidence. If I can believe that Vito is challenging me to a fair game where reasoning is possible, then I can be sure of that. In other words, Vito has already left me clues, hints, and messages in this tale. It isn't from the Decalogue, but Erica or someone said this. There are 3 riddles to be exposed in a mystery. One is the whodunit, who is the culprit, the howdunit, how did they commit the crime, and the whydunit, why did they commit the crime. All of this means that the clues related to these 3 riddles are already present inside this tale. Now, strictly speaking, it's like this. Because she wanted me to solve these 3 riddles, Vito scattered hints abound. But whether I'm capable of catching those or not is another matter. Even if you think about a riddle you propose is easy, it might be difficult for the person trying to solve it. Yep. Therefore, as Vito goes through each successive game, she watches me closely, and tweaks the game as needed to get a good arrangement. When Vito realized that I'd completely surrendered in the second game because it was too hard, she secretly worried. If I surrendered and lost the will to fight, the game would no longer remain on an even footing. Therefore, in order to make me regain my will to fight, from the third game onwards, she set things up in a way that made it easier for me, giving me tips on how to fight and a few hints. Vigillion and Renova obviously appeared so they could help me. Also, though we still got the usual crazy magic shows, she gave me the metaphor of the Brawn Tube trial as well as tips on how to fight back. I finally understood how to fight, and most likely at the end of the fourth game. Vito managed to have the all-out showdown with me that she probably wanted. Then Vito fully acknowledged my ability to become fully fledged, and entrusted me with her heart. And entrusted me with explaining this tale, didn't she? In that case, it was really dumb of me to boycott most of the fifth game, just because I was so disgusted with these two witches. It doesn't matter who the game master is. All I need to search is to search for the truth in Beto's game. On the contrary, I should probably thank those two witches just a little for continuing the game in Beto's place. That's just gone and left everything to me. Of course, I doubt those evil witches were trying to do anything of the sort. Culprit, crime, motive. The answers to those three riddles, the hints, must be scattered through the previously shown tales. It's probably a very faint light, like trying to find beads that fall onto a sandy beach. They're definitely there. However, they're so faint that unless I believe strongly, there's no way I'll be able to find them. Please, allow me to speak. What is it? Go back through the tale. Know that you will be given them as long as you don't lose sight of the truth's faint light. Right now, through this tale. Know that for reasoning to be possible, a trusting relationship is required. Yeah, I know. In fact, maybe I finally noticed just now. It's something that's been repeated over and over again throughout the tale. Persistently so. Without love, the truth cannot be seen! There it fucking is! Woo! Slowly, the tearing dissolved into darkness. Then, as though I was slowly sinking into a pitch-black sea, I passed through the crevice of the long journey I'd taken with Beto. And kept on falling and falling. It was a bizarre experience, like crossing over to the boundary of sleep while still conscious. No, it's not like that, Robin. They're not actually saying they're in love. It's whatever. Anyway, the several tales before became faint bubbles. No, were they small shining fragments? And were scattered like stars amidst the pitch-black sky. I kept sinking on into that sea. Yeah, the tales up until now, one after another. Virgilius, okay, yeah. Well, Virgil guided Dante to Mount Purgatory, and brought him to the feet of the eternal lady who waited at the top, Beatrice. Therefore, the innermost depths lay not at the bottom, but at the peak of Mount Purgatory. The eternal lady had been waiting there for Dante the whole time. And then I knew. Oh! That's fun. I finally reached the truth. To the depths. No, the peak of Mount Purgatory. You idiot. You really are an idiot. Ooh, new music. What? Oh shit! It's a vocal song. He awoke from the sleep of death, and bit by bit, the sense of pain came back to him. On Battler's face, which still looked up at the heavens, as he hung there pierced by the longsword, the suffering and alive expression gradually returned. Oh, if this gets animated, this would be so awesome. You really are an idiot. A huge idiot. Battler noticed. Ugh, this whole time, Vito had been snuggling up against him, sleeping. And when he held her, he knew that it was not Beto, but her crumbling remains. So when Battler just tried to hold that form as fragile as ash, then, just like a sandcastle made on a beach, washed away by a small wave, it fell apart and lost its form. At Battler's feet lay nothing but the ragged remains of Beto's dress and a pile of ash. No, on top of that pile of ash, he could see something sparkling gold. It was the husk of a single gold butterfly which had been torn to bits. And so, Battler knew I've definitely reached the truth. However, I wasn't able to do it, while Beto still remained in this world. Oh. Beto, you really are an idiot. I finally reached the truth of this crazy riddle you've created, just like you wanted. I didn't lose heart, and I finally made it there in the end. So why did you lose heart without waiting for me? You believed so strongly, didn't you? That I definitely reached the truth? So why? Why couldn't you believe with me and wait? You aren't the one who's been forcing endless torture on someone else. It's me. I've been the one putting you through such cruel torture. You resisted until the very end and kept protesting to me. And even though I've now finally reached that truth, to think that you couldn't wait any longer, and it was all too late. You idiot! Why did you lose heart before me? Damn it! It's my fault. I forced her to endure this torture. In fact, she's been doing a wonderful job sticking through it for so long. Over and over and over again, you kept on protesting to me. And because I was so incompetent, it was as though I couldn't understand the truth. Idiot! Your riddles are too twisted. Why couldn't you say it more simply? You idiot! His scream of pain filled the sad cathedral. The sad witch who wasn't able to communicate the truth to Battler. The sad man who wasn't able to understand this witch's truth. Battler's howl of anger and sadness rang out for that pair. Clock hung in the cathedral showed that it was 24 o'clock on October 5th, 1986. Time was up for everything. You're kidding me. Don't say something like that on a time limit on something like a time limit on this difficult riddle you're so proud of. No, I understand. Even though there was such a faint chance of that miracle happening, you prayed for it to happen. You're just like grandfather. You prayed for and bet on the power of a miracle, one so unlikely that it was totally impossible, less likely than finding a bead you've dropped on a sandy beach. And that means I've now truly arrived at that miracle. However, your time didn't last long enough. I've reached this point even a little sooner. If I could have seen the truth, even if it had been right before time was up, I might have been able to save you. But right now, I've been run through pathetically. I can't even hold what remains of you. As I attempted to pull the longsword out, I tried stretching out my arms and kicking my feet, struggling to really touch her remains, but nothing worked. Shit, damn it! At that time, I noticed a golden glint on the palm of my hand. It was a single wing from a gold butterfly. That small fragment of gold was the only piece of beetle that I was permitted to touch. I cried with all my strength, gripped that fragment and pressed it against my head, apologizing. Why couldn't I reach the truth earlier? And I pressed it to my chest, promising that even now, I would never again lose the truth. When I pressed my hand against my chest, The sword piercing my chest cut my wrist and blood dribbled out. That blood spread throughout my fist, and it must have soaked that gold fragment with my red blood. It must have been the only way of telling her that I'd found the truth she'd wanted me to know about. I clutched the wing of the golden butterfly with my freshly bleeding hand and pressed it against the red sword that pierced me. At this point, Ushiromiya Battler knows, and he understands. He's found this tale's everything. At that time, it seemed as though a faint golden light leaked out of the gaps in his clenched fist. Okay, so now what? The two witches had their backs turned, and Erika was laughing at Battler's corpse. Oh, here we go. It really is pathetic, Battler-san. I'll make your foolishness into a statue and for all eternity. Huh? Here we go! Oh, good God, we had to wait a very long time for this. At that time, Battler's chest, no, the red longsword that pierced Gauntlet began to sparkle gold from deep within his chest. Yes, with the power of anime bullshit, he gets back up again. By fucking glowing gold, turning it into gold. What's going on? Butler is... What is this? Ah! His consciousness came back. His will to live, his will to fight, came back. The red longsword that pierced Battler could no longer be described as such. By now it became a golden longsword. Then slowly, gradually, pulled itself out of Battler's chest. Finally pulled itself free and started dancing through the air and stood up in front of Battler's eyes as though it knew who its master was. Oh shit, he's like, I've got the fucking huge on now. Battler, crawling on the floor and moaning, grabbed the golden longsword. And though it looked painful, he slowly rose to his feet once again. God, I really fucking hope this gets animated. I wish there was a CG of that. Oh man, that would go so fucking hard. Sure is an elaborate act. Is this one of your tricks, Lambda? That glow. It couldn't be the legendary Super Saiyajin. When she noticed about this resurrection wasn't part of a script Lambda had thought up. Byrne also frowned slightly. Sorry, retrials will not be permitted. Siesta Sisters, eliminate this resurrection illusion. Understood. 44, 4110. 410. Firing permission granted. It's unable to target. IFF error. Code 999. 999, you say? Impossible. Wakana. Lambda, what kind of farce is this? The illusion of the witch has been completely destroyed, and the trial ended with our victory. Sorry, Ben. You'll have to stick around a bit longer. Isn't that right? Ushiromiya Battler? Yeah. Sorry to keep you waiting, Erika. Byrne Castel? Now it's time for my truth. Yes! Request for a retrial accepted. The Assembly of the Witches retracts the adjournment of the Court of Illusions. Objection! The trial has already been concluded and the results have even been announced. Objection overruled. All verdicts are overshadowed by new truths. Objection! Not only has Battler been banished as a player, he also doesn't hold the rank of witch. He isn't qualified to call for an appeal. Objection overruled. He already does have that. By the name of Lambda Delta, Witch of Certainty, I acknowledge it. Ushiromiya Battler, I acknowledge you as the new Golden Witch. No, as the new Endless Sorcerer, Ushiromiya Battler. Holy fuck! So this is what that thing means. So this is what the thumbnail on Steam means. Yes, he gets his own fucking power up. What did she say? But Battler got the rank of a witch. The rank of a witch, which she had desired for so long and been granted to Battler so quickly. On top of that, this wasn't anything temporary. This was an official proper authorization by Lambda Delta. Erica couldn't accept it and her face turned bright red. Looks like that kid's game will really keep us entertained till the very end. Sure, I'll play along. Erica, you handle this. The red truth you've created with me is perfect. The construction of truth that makes Nazi the culprit is perfect. Battler certainly won't be able to break it. Of course, my master. There's no need to worry about it at all. Anyway, Chiefs to Sisters, my master ordered you to fire, right? How long is it going to take you to carry that order out? Error code 999. An access code is required to target the Territory Lord. Yeah, I told you he'd do it, yeah? Territory Lord? Who is? Who controls this fragment? I do! Territory Lord? You don't mean... Battler is... Yes, Ushiromia Battler has been authorized as the official Territory Lord of this fragment. Yeah, he's the king now. Yes, that's right. So, you still don't understand? You don't know what that gold sparkle signifies? He's reached it. Battler has. He's made his way to the innermost depths of all truth. It's so fucking good. Yes. That means Battler's understood everything about this world, this tale, this game. In other words, he's reached the position of the game's master. I'll bet you don't want to believe it, right, Bern? Oh, this is the best. This is the most, like, this is worth, okay, maybe this isn't worth 5 episodes, but like, you know, he doesn't get this right away. He's been working his ass off for this, so he really deserves this shit, right? He deserves all the praise you can get from all of the witches. Everybody going, Bakana, impossible, this can't be happening. I can't possibly believe that you've become so powerful. While he goes up and shows, like, pulls himself up with a fucking giant golden sword. Like, yes, chuny bullshit. Yeah, I don't want to believe it. Okay, I'll test Battler to see whether he really understands everything. Erica? Too bad, Erica. Just when you were finally appointed as the Territory Lord of this fragment, you've been deprived of that title. The new Territory Lord of this fragment is Ushiromia Battler. Is it awful? Hey, don't you feel just awful? How does it feel to be deprived of that title just when you'd finally gotten it? How does it feel? And, you know, it also doesn't feel too, like, annoyingly, like, what's the word? It doesn't feel like, oh yeah, look at this person, like this personal enemy of mine I'm going to embarrass now, because, like, she went and, you know, took Natsuhi, a really well-meaning person, and accused her of infidelity for absolutely no reason. Battler, if you think you can disprove my theory, just try it! It's impossible! Impossible! The theory I've created has no holes! It's impossible to deny Natsuhi's the culprit. I can construct a theory with someone other than Aunt Natsuhi as the culprit. It may be that your truth is impossible to disprove. If so, that means your truth will no one will be able to deny my truth either. Yeah! Gasp! He's using the red truth! He's using the red truth now! He can do it! That's good. A culprit other than Natsuhi? Ha! How's that? Tlanor, let's see where this illusion of Battler-san takes us. He's fucking gone Super Saiyan. It's wonderful. Oh, hi, Tlanor. Slowly, Tlanor stepped forwards. In her hand was the red longsword of the Decalogue. She also had a blue short sword. In Battler's hand was a golden longsword. Oh my goodness. The two rivals once again. No, for the first time, they truly confronted each other. Battler, I've been waiting. Sorry to keep you. You did not. Your return was sooner than I anticipated. Kill him! Tlanore Nox! Thanos' form disappeared in an instant, as though her slow, dignified movements from before were only a lie. The curve drawn by the longsword of red truth burned itself into the retinas of those who saw it. Before anyone had enough time to follow that curve, it was already approaching Battler's chest. Lady Erica's reasoning has solved the 5th game. No new facts exist that overturn the truth created by this reasoning. It's possible to show a different truth by using a different interpretation. When multiple truths exist in parallel, the authenticity of both is questioned. In this closed-up world, it's possible for differing truths to exist at the same time. Furthermore, as long as multiple truths exist, it's impossible to claim that any of the truths are the single truth. In other words, even if I can't overturn Erica's reasoning by questioning its credibility and conquering it, I can defeat it. Bern's reasoning is perfect. You won't be able to overturn it easily. But still, if you can present a theory on par with Bern's, it'll come down to a verdict. That means either one of the truths might be defeated and denied. What a laughable script. I'd expect nothing less than from a demon's script. Then let me ask, what is this theory with someone other than Natsuhi as the culprit? Oh, the stroke Kevin Longsword drew both the red and blue curves at will. It's possible to construct it using the revenge of the baby from 19 years ago, the one from Aunt Natsuhi's confession. That's a good point. Nox is first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story, but he was! The first person introduced in the 5th game cannot be named as the culprit. What if the baby from 19 years ago was among us since the very beginning? For example, what if it was me? Holy shit. Holy shit. Bum, bum, bum. They were saying, who's like, what if your mother isn't actually your mother? Nox is 8. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Was there ever any foreshadowing showing you might be the baby from 19 years ago? Yes. The red truth from the 4th game that I'm not the son of my mother's Asamu. The feeling that dad was hiding something in both the 1st game and this game. In particular, in this game, it was made clear that there were some special circumstances having to do with my birth. Now, he'd reconstruct the crime, with himself as the culprit. As Lana cautiously heard Osoda's ready, she gauged the distance between them. And Valor inherited the position of this world's territory lord and attained the rank of endless sorcerer. His movements surpassed human understanding. By now, the physical distance... Yes, oh, I hope this shit was animated. A good start. Let us hear your theory with Battler as the culprit. Yeah, I'll let you hear it. I'll prove that this explanation also works. And that you can't be Natsuhi as the culprit. I mean, and... Good! I was gonna say something, and that was that, I suddenly have 2 thoughts. One is, if Butler really is some, like, hidden child with some big secret behind his birth, that would explain why he is the protagonist when he's basically just, like, the 3rd of 4 grandchildren, and, like, there's not really anything about him that seems to be special other than the fact that, like, he is just incredibly stubborn. But the other thought that I also had was, if Balor is saying that he is reconstructing this to say that he is the culprit, is this whole thing, has Battler been the culprit this whole time? Has Beatrice been doing this whole thing so that Battler can learn to accept the fact that he, like, murdered his family? What the fuck? If so, what the fuck? That would give this thing an entirely new spin on everything. But it would explain the whole, like, hey, remember your sins and shit. Oh god, Beatrice, what are you doing? Battler, what have you been doing? Oh, fuck. Anyway, what's Erica talking about? Good. If you're supposed to be the culprit, that creates several contradictions. I'll use those contradictions to reap your feeble truth. I, Erica, the detective, and the Witch of Truth will... This time, Erica stepped forward. In her hand, there would be a scythe. Of course she's got the scythe. It's only possible for the crime to have taken place between 24 o'clock and 1 o'clock. During that 1 hour, you were in the dining hall of the mansion. Therefore, it's impossible for you to commit the crime. Well, you were just sitting, lying there, right? Also, if Battler is the culprit, it would explain why he hasn't been killed in any of the things. Oh, fuck. Battler, what the fuck did you do? I liked you. It's not been specified the time of death was between 24 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Therefore, it's possible the crime didn't occur between 24 o'clock and 1 o'clock. It could have easily occurred when you were just sitting there, sleeping. There's a restriction on any murders in the cousin room. From 1 a.m. until the discovery of the crime, it is impossible for any criminal action to occur in the cousin room. Then or now. Noxus 8. It is forbidden for case to be resolved if clues were not presented. If the crime was actually carried out in the cousin room, clues must have been shown. Because clues were not given to Detective Lady Erica, who was on the watch for any abnormalities inside that room until the morning, such a crime is impossible. By the time of the crime's discovery, you mean the point in which I let out a scream and everyone gathered there. Even if it was impossible to kill them before that point, it was possible to kill them afterwards. Values it. Yes! After what he had said, it was completely absurd. At that time, they still hadn't been killed? Even though corpses with their necks sliced open were laying right there? Death before in the cousin room being complained with the red text. Are you trying to use the illusion of the witch? Are you trying to resurrect George and the others using the concept of magic, even though they were dead at the time? I see, since you believe they were dead at that point. Probably looks as though the dead have been brought back to life as she view. In that case, I won't be the one to take the next shot at you. Fool, how often do I have to say it? The deaths of the 4 people in the cousin room have been proclaimed with the red truth. Those corpses were witnessed. Yep. Take that, dead people. Oh god. Oh, hi Renove. Everyone's coming back. When was that red truth made? Have you forgotten, miss? You, Renove? How did you get here? Well, who cares? Oh, this all works nicely. Now there's no need to go looking for you. I'll capture you here and deny your existence too. I'll leave it to you. Teach her that you can't control everything with a single arrogant truth. Yes, your majesty. Well then, allow me to be your opponent for a bit. What do you say, miss? In that case, when do you claim the Red Truth death proclamation happened? Are you saying you can pinpoint that? You can't pinpoint it. You can't deny the death proclamation reached at the time of the crime's discovery. When this court was opened, Lady Lambda Delta made a proclamation. She said this was a 24 o'clock answer session. The death proclamation was made on 24 o'clock on the second day, in the other words, at the end of the game. That does not deny the possibility that the murder occurred after the morning of the second day, after the so-called discovery of the crime. Then you're saying that the victims were alive at that time, even though their necks were sliced open? Did you see that yourself, Miss Detective? True, our current understanding is no corpse will lead to a mistaken examination, no matter who performs it. But no rule so far as to prevent something other than a corpse being called a corpse. So at that point in time, no one was dead? There weren't even wounds on their necks? In that case, why did Battler scream? Better watch your feet, little girl. Ishirumi Kinzo is already dead at the starting time for all games. Huh? Leah? Yes. Sorry, smothered mates? Okay, whatever. Shouldn't you rethink your reasoning? Kinzo doesn't exist. Therefore, the way for the bodies to disappear in your theory is a failure. Correct. Unless someone other than Ginzo makes the corpses disappear, your theory fails. God, this is nothing. Yeah! We are the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Know this foe of our master. It's only paperweights. After George's death, his corpse was never moved. What? After Jessica's death, her corpse was never moved. Yep. Therefore, the corpses couldn't have vanished after being discovered. Oh, because of your theory about Ginzo carrying the corpses away failed. But so what? Even without Ginzo, I can explain how the corpses I, Further Erica, have to revise my theory? I do? The detective does? Felt like you toyed around with your plan a bit too much in order to want a Nazi like that. Played around too much with your reasoning. At this point, your master isn't the only one who can speak of Kinzo's death with the red truth. This is what you get for playing around in the witch's darkness. Know that, Furudo Erica. Thing, finally had become a witch, sorcerer, capable of using red without proof. However, she had her own Inquisitor of Heredity who could use the red without proof. Lanor! Noxus second, it is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique. If you would show a Kinzo has died with the red truth, then I demand you display a human truth that can make that point. Forgive me, damn geezer. Overcome it, babbler. Don't let my corpse stop you. Presentation of evidence. I'll present a corpse that could possibly be identified as Ushiromiya Kinzo's. How can you prove this corpse is Ushiromiya Kinzo's? Yeah, but the toe stuff, right? Ooh, any counter with the red truth will be invalid. I guess that works. It may be true that the existence of third-party corpses already be denied with the red. However, if saying that with the red is forbidden, Feather has nowhere to run to. That's right. In this closed-off Rokkenjima, there is no objective way to show that this corpse is grandfather's. How are you going to prove the corpse was Kinzo's if the red truth is sealed? It's impossible. It can't be done. With red or blue, right? Time for green truth, purple truth. Oh shit, it actually is! It actually is! Yellow truth! Or is it orange? I don't know. I don't fucking know! I guarantee that this corpse is Ushiromiya Kinzo's corpse! Or no, it's the golden truth! Of course, I'm an idiot! Haha, yes! What? Impossible! Laura, what are you? A splendid gold truth. It is valid. Gold truth? It was gold truth. What is that? Lambda, does this follow the rules? Yes. Gold truth valid. The gold truth can only be used by the territory lord of this world. No, only by the game master himself. Truly bullshit. Yes! What did you say? Gold truth. A divine truth woven in a different fashion than the red truth. Its strength is on par with the red truth. It may sometimes be inferior, but it is sometimes superior. That glitter is proof the Battler-kun truly understands Beto. I've shown it. Shown it the corpse's grandfather. Yes, full truth accepted. Unless Lady Erica's theory undergoes some revision, it will be destroyed. What the? Ah! I see. It's like, and then there were no Acroids. Just when did this... What a crazy mashup of great works! Father, it would be excessively unrefined to say any more. Even without saying another word. You fully made your truth about the corpse's disappearance understood. I see that thing you're thinking about doesn't conflict with any of the red of the trial so far. Your truth based around the revenge of the man of 19 years ago has been completely understood and processed. I proclaim that your truth has now been established. What the? Why is that Great Lady Lambda Delta? He still hasn't explained anything. I still have many ways to argue back, like Hideyoshi's closed room, the Selenati's personal room, and the button in the closet. Do you? Really still think you're capable of defeating Battler's argument? Because of this, Grandfather's absence has been verified, and the dishonorable relationship between Aunt Natsuki and Grandfather has been removed from consideration. Aunt Natsuki is pure and faithful. I won't permit this vulgar tale you're all so fond of. Battler-kun. Furthermore, because we've raised doubts about the time of death for all those who've died so far, the alibis for everyone except Aunt Natsuki go back to square one. If you try to argue the crime was impossible for everyone except Aunt Natsuki, it won't work. However, in the cousin room, you witnessed corpses that were impossible to misidentify. Are you trying to say that was a lie? Noxus 7, it is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit. Purito Erica is the detective, and the me in this game isn't one. And by Noxus 9, it is permitted for observers to let their own conclusions and explanations be heard. Noxus 8 is forbidden for the case to be resolved if clues not presented. Until now, you have been the detective. Was it ever shown that you were not the detective this time, and that you were an observer capable of inserting his personal ideas? Unless it was, you do not have the right to falsify your point of view. In this game, when I figured out the device connected to the Epitaph's riddle, I witnessed Grandfather. As has already been shown in red, Grandfather doesn't exist. It was impossible for me to witness him. Therefore, it has already been shown that my viewpoint wasn't objective. Oh shit. It's possible it's just a sheet or something. There's the red truth that Beto showed during the fourth game. No person would mistake Ishirumi at Kenzo by sight. In other words, on this island, all illusions that might lead someone to mistake something for Grandfather, including someone else pretending to be Grandfather, most certainly cannot work. All of Aunt Natsuki's schemes to make it seem like Grandfather existed were hidden in the relatives' blind spots. All of them clever tricks, like he was here just a second ago, or he's in his study alone now. You never tried to make the mistake of anyone mistake something they saw for Grandfather himself. No contradictions. Allowing the lies to be contained within their observations is the right granted to everyone, except for just one person. And that person is the detective. Because of the right granted by Noxus 9th, anyone is allowed to mistake a sheet in the wind for something else and tell someone about it. However, mistaking it for Grandfather in particular is not permitted in this game due to the red truth. So once you claim to have seen Kinzo, it was no longer misrecognition but intentional. In other words, this proves that the observer was not objective, is what you were saying. Forgive my crazy argument. It's all finished now. No, it is okay. Because men like you exist in this world. You will surely protect the fragile truth from any kind of pride. You will surely protect the real truth from the tyranny of any plausible truth that might claim to exist as the sole truth and try to exterminate all fragile truths. I am glad I could fight with you. Therefore, my perspective in this game is based upon the 9th, Not the 7th. The fact that I claim to have seen Grandfather is proof! And I'm so cool and badass that I'm not actually going to kill her. I resign. I give up on denying your truth. I pay my debt. Let honor be to your father. Decalogue was neither arrogant nor judgmental. Honor to my father. What are you doing, Glanor? Lame pathetic! You stupid half-wit murder doll! You're tainted the honor of your own father, shame on you! You still call yourself Mysteries Wedges? Well, you surrender to magic! The history of the mystery genre won't allow that! You're the one who doesn't understand what mystery is all about. You see, mystery is nothing more than a weapon with to sneer at your opponent intellectually. I won't let you ever say so again. Battler? I'll present the truth that conflicts with yours. Aunt Nazi was threatened by a phone call over the Eternal Alliance sent by the man from 19 years ago. Me. His goal was to make Aunt Nazi look like a murderer. From the beginning, this has all been a drama of revenge intended on framing Aunt Nazi. That's wrong. It's a drama of revenge against anyway. You still can't pull out the blue spear that's sticking through you, right? From Erica, I haven't heard of a single way for the corpses to disappear that doesn't involve Kinzo. Looks like your theory is about to be denied, doesn't it? Spear is just... I acknowledge the mistake in Erica's reasoning and the need for revision. I don't give a damn about your pride. How long do you intend to shame yourself like that? You and my double being granted the same blue hair as me. How long do you intend to hang there, pierce through like that? I guess I just have to descend myself. Sorry, what has that got to do with blue hair? Looks like I didn't need a piece after all. Ugh, what a pain, what a total pain. I don't need a piece, I'll just throw it away, yeah. Do it quickly, filth! As long as I'm here, I will protect that truth. No matter how pathetic it is, I will not laugh at that truth. And because no unique truth exists, everything is covered in darkness. Therefore, while both my theory and Erica's theory are impossible to deny, neither is a unique truth. They are vague, and while neither can be denied, neither is certain. Because there is no decision. It is because there has been no decision. The illusion of the witch still exists. The only one who will be permitted to expose it is neither Erica nor the rest of you. It's me alone. I won't let anyone expose Beatrice's illusion except me. The matter survives because of the truth presented by Ushirimiya Battler. Erica's truth is no longer unique. However, Erica's truth borrows. Therefore, both of their truths exist, and the conclusion of the 5th game is rescinded. The game goes back to being even, and I transfer the position of Game Master from myself to the Golden Sorcerer, Ushirimiya Battler. Ushirimiya Battler, step forward. I appoint you as the new Game Master. Will you accept? You will, right? Do it, you new endless witch. Yeah, I'm the new Game Master. I'll weave the 6th game. Whatever the fuck that means. Erica, let's settle things for good this time. Stand up. Yes, I will stand. I'll make you regret giving me a chance to clear away this shame. My master, please give me an opportunity to fight with Battler again in the 6th game. Sure, of course I'll give you a chance. Wow, incredible. She said I'll give you a chance. Isn't this a miracle? I'm the Witch of Miracles, Bern Castell. Erica, you've miraculously managed to escape here with your life. In the 6th game, Battler's game, expose the truth no matter what. Unless you want to be tossed aside to the darkness of oblivion. Yes, my master. Slanor. I'll invite you to my 6th game. Sorry, but that title of yours, Checkmate of the, isn't cutting it. It's your game, you can decide the name yourself. Just bring it on. I, Furito Erika, am a detective before I am a witch. I acknowledge you as the new master of this game, and I issue a proclamation of war. I'll definitely expose it all. I'll kill you! Golden Sorcerer, Ushiro Miya, Patla! Yeah, come at me with all you've got. Furido Erika! Just watch, Speedo. I'll take charge of your game. And in this next game, I'll prove that I completely understand all of your riddles. Well, that was a great ending. I'm a bit scared, though, at what exactly he's implying. Music's going hard, though. I mean, this is the end of episode 5. There's 8 episodes, so there you go. Cool. So what's the title screen gonna look like? There we go. Okay. Right, the tips. Yeah, I'll just briefly look at it. That's all. This is all the same, right? Yeah, this is all right. Sorry, the tips, right? That's all the same as well. Characters. Is this all the same? Probably. But the execute and resurrect buttons don't work there. Honestly, it doesn't really look like there's much that's actually new here. It's just, this stuff. Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I think that's at least enough for now. Born of the Golden Witch. That's it. Oh, it sounds okay. I'm scared. I'm scared, but Umineko's cool, guys. I think it's a cool game. It's pretty good. So yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. We'll see what happens.